Spirits. I'm your host, Christy Brower, and you are listening to 12radio.com here on the Friday before the 4th of July. Can you believe summer is halfway over? Not just summer, the year. We're halfway through it. Isn't it crazy? I think it is. The timing has just kind of shocked me. And I have felt like this for a while, that time seems to be moving quicker. And it might just be my age. Some people say that as you get older, time moves faster. I don't know if that's it or if it's something else, but I certainly feel it. But I just want to say I'm really excited to be here with you today. Thanks for joining me here on my new day. You know that a few weeks ago I moved Kindred Spirits from Mondays to Fridays. And I'm really happy with the move. It feels weird. I did Mondays for 5 years. So it feels really weird. It still feels like I still feel a little off balance when I go to do the show, like I'm not quite ready for this, even though I really am. It just feels different because of the timing. I am live in lots of ways today. So I am live, of course, on 12radio.com. You know that. I'm also live in the chat room. So if you go to 12radio.com and click on chat, and that will bring you into our radio Facebook group, which is what we call our chat room. You'll find me in here in two ways. So there is a pinned post at the top of the page that is my banner. My producer Scott put that up for me. That's where my chat is. So if you want to ask me a question, ask for a reading, comment on the discussion today, any of those things, you can do that by going to that post. But I'm also live on Facebook Live in the chat room. So if you want to watch the show, you can. You'll find the video there. I'm also live on YouTube Live. So I'm streaming on my YouTube channel, which is Christy Brower. If you just search for me, you'll find me. I know some of you have kind of stepped away from Facebook, and so I just am trying to be inclusive with everybody as far as that is concerned. So you can find the show in all of those ways. And if you just want to listen through 12radio.com or Live 365 or TuneIn or one of our apps, that's awesome. Feel no pressure to participate further than that. I just make it available for people who want to. I have so much to share with you this week. And I feel like that every week. I'm sure that you recognize that, that I feel like, oh my gosh, there's so much to share with you every week, which is true. But this week is no different. So I have something sort of amazing happening for me right now. I'm going to talk to you about it. And then we'll get into our topic, which, if you read my newsletter, we're going to be talking about authority and who is the authority in our lives. But first, I want to share something else with you. And some of you already know about this. If you follow me on Facebook, you know because I've shared it. But I'm going to do something here that I don't normally do, but I am going to share this. I am a writer. You guys know I'm a writer. I write for the Power Peak. I write for my blog. I've written for Gaia.com, Elephant Journal. Many of you are familiar with my Oracle deck. And with the Oracle deck that I collaborated on with the Psychic Sisters. Been doing a lot of writing. I want to take that to the next level. That's my big plan. That's where I want to go, is take this to the next level. Here's the thing. I don't know how to do that. I know how to do a lot of things, but taking my writing to the next level is not one of them. That is not something that I know how to do. And so I have been hoping for a while, seeking out for a while, how I'm going to do that, because I know I need some help. I know that I need some assistance. I don't know how to market a book. I don't know how to market test a book. I don't know what the right way to publish is. There are a lot of things I don't know. I know what my work is, and I know how to write it, but I don't know how to go beyond that. So I have been selected to be a part of a program. And I'm not going to say which one. Eventually I will share with you. But right now, I'm just going to say this is an elite program for writers and writers in my field, writers like me who are healers. And I applied to be in a program that only takes about 20% of the people that apply. And I got in. But here's the deal. Writing a book isn't free, as we all know. It costs money. It costs a lot of money. So this program that I've been allowed into, which it is it's a huge honor to me that they selected me, honestly. Looking at my work and everything that I've done and prepared for really means a lot to me. Um, but I have to have some money to get started. And I've been working on putting that together in multiple ways. Money that I've saved, I have family who are loaning me money. And then the other thing that I'm doing, which is something I have never done, you guys have seen me do this for other people, to help needy people, to help people in trouble. You've seen me do this. I've never done this for myself before. And that is, I'm actually soliciting help. So I'm going to share in the chat, or you can find it over on my Facebook page, a video that I recorded yesterday describing what I'm doing, um, and ways to help. If you appreciate my work, if you've been here with me for a long time and are in a position to help even just a little bit, doesn't have to be huge sums of money, it would be very much appreciated. Now, if you can't, no worries. There is no expectation here. I'm simply putting it out there because I feel like my journey is also your journey. We share a journey a lot, don't we? We've done that here on the radio for a long time. So I'm put up some opportunities, a couple of different ways through PayPal or Venmo. If you want to help me get to my goal, I have to raise $2,000 on top of what I've already raised. I've raised 1,000 of that, so I'm actually down to only needing to raise $1,000 to do this thing that is truly my dream, which is to probably do a whole series of books that are about my teachings and that are getting the stuff that I know out into the world. It means so much to me. So I have shared this in the chat room, or you can, if you just find me on Facebook, Christy Brower, or my Instagram, Christy Brower, this video is there and the information is there as well. I just want to say thank you so much to everyone who has contributed already, who has shared the video, who has shared words of encouragement. It's beautiful what has happened in the last not even 24 hours. It's just amazing. And this is something that's happening really fast. I have a meeting on Tuesday and I have to have my money on Tuesday because we get rolling really quickly. It's only about a 3-month process from start to finish. And so I have to be ready. I'm ready to hit the ground running, and if you are able to help me, that's awesome. And if you're able to help me even in just encouraging me and cheering me on and being a part of this journey with me, that means everything. So thank you. And thank you for hearing that and for allowing me some vulnerability, which is not something I always do, but I appreciate very much how to help. I appreciate that very much. I have a question on my YouTube video. Can I PayPal you? Yes. Yes, you can. I will message you. I will find your message on that video after and tell you my email address, or you can come find me on Facebook, which I'm just Christy Brower on Facebook, and that would be a way too. I don't really have another way to respond on the YouTube video right now, but thank you for that question. I will get back to you. I'm pretty sure I can respond to your comment after the video. So anyway, getting that out of the way, here's my next step. I want to share with you my article for the week. You probably saw it in the Power Peak or in my newsletter, because I've been thinking a lot about authority lately. Thinking about authority and who has authority over me and in my life. And who's there because I chose that? And how much of my life am I really in charge of? How much control do I have over what happens in my life? I think it's something we all have to ask ourselves, because there are a lot of different levels of authority, right? There's that big authority, which is our government, and there's local government, and there's county government, and there's state government, and there's city government, and then there's national government. And that's just how it works in the US. And I know you're not all in the US, but we all have some sort of governing authority that we are subject to because of where we live. I have a really interesting experience. I was appointed to a board for the city where I live. And this board it's called the Adjustment Board. And our job is we take appeals from things, planning and zoning decisions, and we also take appeals for nuisance issues. So like issues of, somebody's reported you for something unsightly in your yard and you think you should be able to keep it, you can appeal to us. Very, very interesting experience to learn about how many rules there really are in the city where I live. I never really gave it much thought until I've watched, people who are getting a citation, or, who are, dragging something out with the city for a long time because they think they have the right to leave whatever in their yard. That's kind of how it goes. And so we are, it's a quasi judicial board, which means that we basically make a final judgment. There's nowhere to go beyond us. And it's really interesting to look at the experience with authority in a situation like that, because city government does have authority over people who live within the city limits, even if you own your property. I'm a homeowner, but I'm still subject to those rules, right? So to say that we are 100% in control of our lives is not accurate. It's never going to be accurate. It's always going to be that we are in charge of parts of our lives. We are in charge of our own choices. We are in charge of the things that we do, whether we are in compliance with, laws and rules or not. We are in charge of the direction of our own lives, or we can be. We may not be. It depends. And so I wanted to talk about this and talk a little bit about how can you determine if you are your own authority? Where are you at in your life if you know you're your own authority? So one thing that's always been a hang up for me is I grew up in a religion that taught me that I did not have authority over myself. So I was taught that there were men who had power and authority over me, and they were who I was supposed to go to for revelation from God, for guidance, because they knew better what was best for me than I did. And when I say those words out loud, I hear how ridiculous they are. And I hope that you do too. But I did grow up with that. I never resonated with it. It just never fit for me. I think partially because my parents also didn't buy into it. I never really bought into that concept that someone else has authority in my life and more authority than I do. Even as a child, that just didn't make sense to me. Obviously, my parents had authority, but I had a lot of control in my own life. But it still did manifest itself in some ways. When you grow up around something, when you live around something, even if it's not necessarily your belief, but you're exposed to it quite a bit, it seeps in, it gets in there. And so I struggled with trusting myself and seeing myself as my own authority growing up. And it's something that I've worked on a lot. I would say that I'm not an easy person to control. I don't bow to authority easily. I think those experiences growing up helped me to kind of buck authority more than follow it. But I know that we all fall in different places on this spectrum. The word authority has kind of a prickly feeling to me. I have to say that I don't really like it. My initial response is to, not follow it. It's one of those words that kind of causes conflict inside of me, and I think it does in all of us. So, who really is the authority? And how do we become the authority in our own lives? So, I want to share some thoughts. I am the ultimate authority in my life, and you are the ultimate authority in your life, regardless of what artificial situations have been set up in our lives. Our choices are the only ones that really matter when it comes to the direction of our lives. There are lots of ways that authority can manifest itself. It can be from a religion, it can be from parents, it can be a spouse, it can be your job, it can be your community. And authority can be used in an appropriate way, and it can also be used in a destructive way. We've probably all had those experiences where authority is destructive and is used to control us and keep us from doing what we really want to do. And sometimes authority is simply there to protect us. As children, our parents have authority over us because, our brains aren't fully developed. And sometimes we do things that could literally kill us. And we need somebody, an authority, who knows more about the world to step in and protect us, right? How many times have you seen a toddler try to run out into the street when there are cars coming? They're not thinking about their own protection. So someone in authority over them, an adult in their presence, has to stop them, hopefully teach them. And the goal is always that that toddler is going to learn how to look both ways before crossing the street, is going to learn to do this independently. That's when authority is handled appropriately. Authority gives us structure and safety when we need it, and it also allows autonomy when we are ready for it. How do we get our authority back when it has been taken by someone else? Well, first we have to determine, did we give it away? Did we allow it to be given away? I think we do it a lot more than we recognize. That we let someone else be responsible, that we let someone else make the decisions. This happens in relationships a lot. It happens all the time at jobs, and it happens regularly in families. It's something we have to be careful of. One of the huge keys about being an authority in your own life is that it means that if I'm in charge of me and all of my decisions, then I am now responsible for everything that I do. I am responsible for all of my own choices. I get my own consequences, right? So there are, elements of this that we have to be careful of. If we're avoiding being responsible, that can be a real problem, can't it? So we have to look at, how did authority get taken from us? Sometimes we're raised with it, like the religion that I was raised in. I still know grown adults that are involved in a religion like that who truly are not authorities in their own lives. They still see some higher authority as having more power over them than they do themselves. And that is a choice. It may be an unconscious choice, but it is still a choice. So, how do we get our authority back? Right? So, first we have to be assertive. Taking it back means we're assertive and that we're honest with our feelings and our needs. It also means that we can't give our power away to someone else, even if we're afraid. It means standing up for ourselves, even in situations that seem uncomfortable and difficult. And even if we're unsure about our next move, it's still okay. We don't have to listen to what someone else says or do what someone else says if we don't know the answer. It's okay to wait until we do. And it does mean standing up even when someone is aggressive about it. And, you know, all of us here in the metaphysical community, the New Age spiritual community, we have a tendency to be kind of wet noodles, don't we? We don't necessarily stand up for ourselves. We don't necessarily assert ourselves because maybe that isn't spiritual enough or it isn't kind enough. The bottom line is you have to stand up for you, period, in every situation. And you can do it in a loving way. And sometimes you have to do it in an assertive way. And what you're doing is being loving toward yourself. It can always be done with love, but it has to be done in a way that protects you. So here's something to consider. The word authority literally means the power or right to give orders, make decisions, and enforce obedience. I don't want anybody enforcing obedience on me. Do you? I do think I have to be obedient to myself, though. I do have to listen to myself and think before I act and consider the consequences and consider my choices. That's my responsibility when I am my own authority. So here are a few things to consider that might help you determine if you are the authority in your own life. Do you trust yourself and make choices that benefit you? Are you not afraid to stand up to someone who tries to take your authority, and you recognize that this is a violation of your own personal rights and not something that you will tolerate? So are you able to see it as, hey, that's a violation of my personal space? This is my right to make that decision. Sometimes we have to retrain ourselves with that. If we grew up in a situation where authority was taken from us, our personal authority was taken from us, we might lose the ability to recognize that we've given it away, or to recognize that someone asserting their authority over us is not okay. We might have to relearn that. If you are an authority in your own life, you respect the right of other people to have authority over their own lives and encourage them to make choices that make them happy. You can't be your own authority and somebody else's. If you really believe that you're your own authority, you have to let other people do that as well. And of course, in the case of children, that depends on where they're at developmentally, as much as they're ready. But over time, the goal always is to hand more authority over to our children, right? We ultimately want them to be the authority in their own lives as much as they are able. You respect the authority of those in power in your government or in your community, as long as that authority does not infringe upon your own right to choose your own happiness or infringe upon the right of anyone else to choose their own happiness. It's not blind obedience. We have to be very careful about blind obedience. It's dangerous. And I I have seen it firsthand many times. The religion that I grew up in expects blind obedience. Um, we weren't taught to go doing our own learning and looking and understanding of things. We were to go to authorities, and what they said is what went. There was no um, countering that. There's no discussion. It still is that way. And I know that many conservative religions are the same way. It's okay to question higher authorities. Oh, if you're in charge of yourself, you have the right to ask, why is this happening? Or to say, this is not okay. You have that right. If you take responsibility for your choices and actions and recognize that being your own authority means that you are truly responsible for yourself. So you have to take authority, you have to take responsibility for yourself, right? In order to be an authority in your own life. That's a big one. And I think one that we all struggle with just a little bit, in that it is not that easy to always take responsibility for everything, right? That can be very challenging. It can be scary if it's not something you're used to doing. And so it's a step-by-step process, right? Taking back your authority is not something you do overnight, but it is something that these steps can help you to recognize where maybe you need to work on a little bit. Where are you falling down? Where are you allowing someone else to have authority over you, or you're just not taking it yourself? Have you ever noticed that if you don't take action right away, there's often someone in your life that wants to jump in and help you to do that? Even as your own authority, it is okay to be indecisive. It is okay to not know the answer. It is okay to make mistakes. That's part of the gig. When you are your own authority, you have that right to be wrong, to be unsure, to take a leap. You have that right, even if those around you think, well, you don't know what to do, so I'm going to help you. I'm going to tell you what to do. No, it doesn't work that way. You have the right to your own process, right? Okay. So I want to jump in the chat room and see what you all are saying before I move on. We're going to do a meditation here in just a minute. Sorry, guys, I'm a little hoarse today. You know me and my struggle with hoarseness and the saga of my throat. There's always something going on there. And today is one of those days, but that's okay because I've gotten used to being hoarse on the radio. It used to really bother me. And these days it doesn't bother me nearly so much. Sorry, Facebook is jumping all over the place here. I am going to share a meditation in a few minutes. It is my Shakti manifesting meditation. I think that's a great one to help us with taking back authority, making choices, putting out there what we really want to happen. Let's see. It's like, oh yay, Raven made it. She remembered my move to Fridays. Thank you. Some of you are asking for messages and healings. That's great. I will be doing those a little bit later on in the show. So if you have any questions, something you want me to work on with you, I would be happy to do that. Violet says that she likes the move and she thinks Friday will be huge. Me too. It's funny how just being on a different day feels different. The energy of the show is different for me. Okay, so let's go ahead and do our meditation, and then I will come back to the chat room. And I do have a stone and a card to share with you. But let's start with my Shakti manifesting meditation. Close your eyes and take a few deep breaths. Allow your body to settle and your mind to go quiet. Call in Shakti. Ask her to come to you and help you identify your true desires. Visualize Shakti's golden energy filling your solar plexus, boosting your personal power. Take a moment to tell Shakti your heart's desire. What is it that you truly want out of your life? Share with Shakti the picture you have in your head of how your life will be when you manifest your inspired life. Visualize how your inspired life looks and ask Shakti to place this picture in a golden bubble of shimmering light. Watch as Shakti releases your manifestation up into the sky, sending it up to the universe, where it will come back to you in divine timing. And now, ask Shakti to release you from emotional attachment to the outcome and feel a sense of divine trust that all will come back to you as it is meant to. Thank Shakti for her love and support. Give gratitude for all of the divine manifestation you have already experienced in your life and all that you will continue to experience. And then take 3 deep breaths. And open your eyes. I hope you enjoyed that meditation. If that was a helpful way for you to manifest something, that meditation is available for free download on my website, christybrower.com, and is the featured meditation this week. So if you go to my website, you'll see on the toolbar, one of the choices is featured meditation. If you click there, you'll find the Shakti meditation. You can download it there for free. It's a great opportunity to use it if you really want to, um, you know, move forward in a positive way with manifesting. One of the keys, I think, with manifesting is to remove your emotional attachment. So once you have created the picture in your head, and that idea comes from Shakti Gawain from her book Creative Visualization. My favorite system for manifesting. I like it better than The Secret. It's been around a lot longer. It was published in 1975. But the idea that you come up with what's the final outcome? What does it look like when whatever you're manifesting has occurred? And in her workbook in Creative Visualization, she has you write it, like write a paragraph about it. She has you draw a picture of it as best you can, if you're not much of an artist like me. And then she has you visualize it. Build the picture in your head, put it in the bubble, send it up to the universe. It's like writing a letter and sending it to the universe. And then you just let it go and you move forward with your life. You trust your intuition. You take responsibility for your own choices. You do everything that you can do in order to just trust that your life is moving in the right direction. You just want to work with divine timing, and that is about trusting and moving forward with everything that you feel is the right thing to do in the moment. It's like this thing I'm doing right now. I feel I had this lightning rod experience when I discovered this program, and I knew I had to apply because I knew I would be accepted. I knew all of this was going to happen before it did. It just boom, hit me like crazy. It's what I call full body integrated intuition. When we have one of those experiences like lightning strikes you and you know right now this is the thing that you have to do or the thing that you should never do in the moment, right? And and so I think that's one of the things that we have to do with manifesting is when something like that happens and we want to manifest it, that we send it up to the universe and we say, here you go, this is what I want. Bring it back to me in whatever way is is the best way. I'm going to trust. I'm going to take responsibility for my choices. I'm going to trust my intuition. I'm going to move forward in the best way that I can without, asking over and over again or trying to control it. One of the things that I think we really have to be careful about, because when we have authority over ourselves, we want to be in control of everything, right? Well, good luck. It's not really like that. The world doesn't work that way. We're never 100% in control of anything. We're in control of ourselves. And beyond that, it's a crapshoot, frankly. But when you put divine timing in motion like that, and you send your bubble up to the universe with the picture of what it is that you want to manifest, then you simply trust and follow. Sometimes things will happen and you think, oh my God, this is never going to work out for me because this happened or that happened. But what we don't understand is we don't see all the steps from where I am now to the thing I want to manifest. We don't know that part. That's where trusting divine timing and trusting that authority, it comes into play. And we trust our intuition, that we move forward in the way that we're supposed to, that we do the things we're supposed to do, that the things that come to our attention, that fall into our laps, the synchronicities that happen in our lives, they happen for a reason. They're pushing us in a direction. That's how we use manifesting, is we follow the direction, we follow the trail of breadcrumbs. And sometimes it feels like we go way off track, but something happens to bring us back. So we don't always know, and we generally don't know. One of my favorite stories, and I'll tell you this, although some of you have heard it. I used to drive a Volkswagen Beetle. It was the new Beetle. Was very low to the ground, and I live in Idaho. We get a lot of snow, and those front fenders they get, and I wanted to fix that. Seems like a silly thing, but it was something I really wanted because I love this car. And so I did the creative visualization process to manifest a new grill for my car. Really was working on just, send it up to the universe, don't think about it again. A couple of months later, I got into a car accident on a main road here in the city where I live. Somebody hit me as they were coming through traffic, like pushing their way through traffic to turn. I was in a turn lane and they broadsided me. You would not think that having a car accident would be the way to get something that you want. But it turned out that it was very much the way, because it was the side fender that was crumpled, but on the Beetle, the whole fender all the way around is one piece, and that includes the grille and fog lights. So I got an entire new front fender that had the brand new grille and fog lights. And his insurance paid for it. The insurance company was great, which was also awesome. They rented me a car that I had for over a week while my car was being repaired. And when it came back to me, it was like it was brand new. I always think about that when I think about manifesting. I never, ever would have planned, if I were in charge, that the way that I got a new grill for my car would be to get in a wreck. Wouldn't have been the way I would have thought it to happen. But although it was an accident, it was like the easiest accident I've ever experienced. I wasn't cited. I didn't have any problems with the insurance. It turned out his insurance and my insurance were the same company. So the whole thing worked out very nicely because there were not two insurance companies bumping heads. You know how that can go. So it was just kind of a crazy manifesting experience when I went, wow, this works. And the idea that you have to really just trust and allow is so important, because you have to trust and allow things to just happen the way they're supposed to and follow. And in that way, we have to give up a little authority, don't we? We have to give up a little authority to the universe, to God, whatever term you want to use when you're asking to bring something into your life, because you don't necessarily know how it's going to happen, but you can trust that it will. So that's my message about authority and about manifesting today. I want to share with you, I'll share this in the chat. The card for this week is Shakti from my Kindred Spirits Energy Oracle deck. I'm just going to show you the card itself, and then I'll post it in the chat. This is Shakti. This is from my fractal deck. So there's Shakti. I'm going to show her on the video, and then I'll post the card. Post the card in the chat room. Shakti is a goddess that has been with me for a really long time. You know, I talk about my kindred spirits and the guidance that I have, and you know where that comes from. Shakti is an energy that has helped me so much have the confidence to do things like come here on the radio and talk to you guys and write and put my message out into the world and work as a healer and a psychic and, you know, be brave enough to do those things, because I'm not going to say that it's the easiest thing I've ever done. You know, I have had to really put myself out there and trust, and having her in my life has helped me to do that very much. Let's see. I'm going to post. No, hang on. I'll find it in a minute. I wanted to post the stone of the week too, but I wanted to read the Shakti card to you. The primary message when Shakti comes up is confidence, personal power, positivity, strength, female power, light, and unrelenting. So Shakti gives us that unrelenting energy where we never give up, where we fight and fight and fight. We battle through, we stay committed, we stay focused, we persevere. That's Shakti energy. When Shakti comes up in a challenged position, we're stubborn, inflexible, and controlling. So it's that balance of power and authority in our lives that Shakti really comes into play with. The stone is citrine or ametrine. I'm going to share a picture of ametrine in a minute. Ametrine is a combination of citrine and amethyst. It's my favorite stone to use for developing intuition and developing trust of self, because there's a connection between the solar plexus and the third eye. And that connection is that the more that we trust ourselves, the stronger our intuition becomes. And so it's a cycle back and forth. The more we trust, the more we get. The more we trust, the stronger it becomes. The more we trust, the more aware we are. And so it's a practicing of intuition development by trusting ourselves that stone is very helpful for. The meditation on the card is, Dear Shakti, please lend me strength, amplify my light, and support me in taking a leap. So her energy can help you to do that. You know, for me, I see my kindred spirits not as physical entities, but as energies, which is why I created fractal cards, because I think that the fractals are a better representation of the energy than drawing Shakti as a human, because she's not a human. But her energy is powerful and strong in there and helps us and guides us. I'm going to find here in a second my ametrine. I'll post that as I'm talking. A postcard of ametrine to share with you as well, because ametrine was the stone of the year a couple of years ago. You know, I choose a stone every year. I think it was the stone of the year for 2016, because it's such a positive energy that helps us to trust ourselves. We need that so much in our own development, no matter what we are already doing in our lives, you know, no matter where we've already come in the development that we have experienced, we can always move beyond that. We can always move further, can't we? And that's one of the things that I think that the energy of ametrine can help us to do, is move further in those experiences. I'm going to share a postcard of ametrine here in the chat. And I can't find my ametrine, or I would show it to you on the video, but it's here in my office somewhere, but I haven't found it. So ametrine strengthens intuition by encouraging trust of self. It's a great stone to meditate with, either on your solar plexus or on your third eye. It's also a great stone to use as a worry stone in decision making. When you're making the decision to do something or move forward in a particular area, this is something that can help you, is the energy of ametrine. So, you know me, I love worry stones. I'd love to use a stone like a worry stone. I was looking to see if I have any worry stones sitting here. Oh, I do. This one is an ocean jasper one. But just to carry a stone in your pocket that you interact with when you're thinking, when you're processing, when you're making a decision or meditating or if you're feeling anxious or struggling in some way, having a stone like that present with you as you place pressure on it or change its temperature, which holding it in your hand and rubbing it with your thumb does both, it will release its energy into you and give you something that you need, give you a boost. And you can do that with ametrine in problem solving and in times of really knowing you need to trust yourself. You have an intuitive hit or an insight about something and you need to trust yourself. Get yourself a piece of ametrine to help with that. Okay, I see that we've got lots of questions showing up here in the chat room. So I think we'll get started there. Maureen says, may I please have a reading? Just feeling hurt and discouraged. I don't know if it's the full moon or if my marriage of 27 years is being tested. Any insight would be appreciated. Oh, definitely, Maureen. I know this has been a challenging year for you. Let's pull a card. Let's see what the Kindred Spirits have to say for you today. I do feel like there is some intense, almost staticky energy in this full moon. I have felt it too. And so I do think that you're smart to see that as part of the issue and recognize that, you may just need, left some cards in here that shouldn't be in here. You may just need to, everybody go to your own corners and take a little break and have some time away. Because the card I pulled for you is the heart chakra card. So this indicates to me, first of all, that it is about your relationship. But I also feel like that it's an important time to recognize that sometimes what we need in relationships is a little bit of space. And I feel that for you, that the two of you are heavily involved in problem solving with one another. And you don't always agree and you're feeling challenged. And so in that situation, it's a good idea to take a little break. Maybe if you can, spend the day with a female friend, get some different perspective, encourage him to do the same. Just have a little break and bring down the intensity of the situation. I would encourage you also to do some energy work on yourself with your heart chakra or get some with your heart chakra. I'll do a little bit here on the show, but I think that, we could do more. If you want to give me a call over at Once You Listen, we could work on that a little bit more. I'm going to lift some heaviness that I feel here. I feel like sometimes your emotions and your husband's emotions get really entwined, and that creates intensity. They get bigger, and that doesn't necessarily help your relationship. And so actually some time away, I'm not talking about a separation. I'm just talking about, take a day and go do something and encourage him to do the same. And spend some time away from each other to allow the separation to happen between you so that your energy bodies are not so deeply entwined, because that's what I see is happening. We can work on that more. I don't have time here on the show, but if you want to call me over at Once You Listen or pick up one of my email readings, Maureen, I can take a look at disentangling the two of you a bit, and I think that will help. Okay? Thank you so much for your question and for being here. Mary Chris says that she would love a message. She's just feeling off. Okay. Ooh, yes. You know what? The first thing I feel with you is a root chakra shift, Mary Chris. I feel like your root is pulling off to the left. You're not stabilized, and so you've got this funny zigzag pattern with your energy body instead of a spiral like it should be. So let's just fix that for you, okay? I'm going to shift that root back into place. And we're going to just stabilize that. We're going to ground you and center you and draw that energy all the way up through your energy body, straightening it up. When we say centered, we literally mean your chakras are lined along the midline of your body. When they are not, when they're back and forth on either side, that creates a big problem. We feel off. We feel disconnected. We feel like we don't have enough energy. It can create a feeling of being disconnected from our emotions. It can create feeling tired. And all of those things can happen from that. But everything lined up, I feel like you've had something just kind of knock you off your foundation. And I put you back on and stabilize that. So I think that you're going to feel a whole lot better. Okay. Thank you all for coming in. I see some of you had forgotten that I was moved to Friday, and you're getting here. And I appreciate that you're here. Eva would like a general message. Okay, Eva, let's pull a card for you. See what's going on here. While I'm pulling the card, I just want to read Christine's comment. Christine says, I just Googled the things I desire to have and put all the cutest inspiring pictures in a folder. That is awesome. That's a great way to help you to visualize if you have a photograph or an image of some sort. Eva, I've pulled for you Archangel Elohim. Archangel Elohim is a protection angel. So this indicates to me that it's a good idea to take a look at what's going on around you. Do you need to protect yourself a little bit in situations? It can mean actually like needing to protect yourself spiritually when Elohim is around, but it can also mean that maybe some people are struggling emotionally. Maybe people aren't really, are taking you for granted, aren't really putting your best interest at heart in a situation. So you really want to kind of be careful about that and call in Elohim to help you. So here's what the card says. When Elohim comes up, the primary message is spiritual protection, psychic attack, dark entity attachment, and root chakra. So it's an indication that there's some kind of a risk to you going on. And it could be all different kinds of risk. That's for you to determine. The challenge is fear, avoidance, addiction, and weak energy. So the point of me saying this to you is not to create fear, but it is to create personal power, to encourage you to step into that power. The stone is rainbow obsidian, and the meditation. Now, this is the key part. This is really important. This is the your mantra for the next few days in order to help you with this situation. Dear Archangel Elohim, please surround me in a red ring of fire, protecting me from dark entity attachment and psychic attack, strengthening my energy body, and bringing me peace and safety. So call on Archangel Elohim. I have posted the card, the Elohim card, there in the chat under your question so that you can review that meditation. But that is a great way to call him in to help you when you are in need of some protection. Maureen says that the meditation was powerful and that she felt the energy in her chest. That's awesome. I'm glad to hear that you had a good experience with it. Catherine says, if time allows, I would appreciate a scan of my head, feeling achy and usually never have headaches. Okay. Good call to ask for a look at your energy body. Often misalignment in the energy body causes physical health issues. So let's just take a look here. Yeah, Catherine. So what I'm seeing here is that your crown chakra is very overactive. So instead of being on the top of your head, it's like a big flat disc. It reminds me of a record on repeat when I see this in the crown chakra, because when we have an overactive crown, it means that something is repeating over and over in your head. There's all this extra energy in there. And so it's like your thoughts are on autopilot. They are repeating, looping with really no control on your end. This can definitely cause headaches. It can also cause difficulty sleeping, difficulty with focus, concentration, and memory, all of those things. So we're just going to do a little crown chakra clearing. Release some of that extra energy. Catherine, when the crown gets overactive like this, a lot of times it's an indication to me that you need more physical activity. You need more energy put into the area of your life where you use your body. So if you go on a walk every day or you do some yoga or whatever you do, remember to do it every day. We live in this world where we spend a lot of time in virtual reality. That's our phones, that's our screen time. And it makes the crown chakra overactive. We have so much going on up here, and it's kind of like our energy pulls up into our crowns and not so much the lower half of our energy body will be underactive. So I would recommend, in order to help with this, that you just take a little walk every day, even if it's 15 minutes outside, no music, no phone, just walk and be in nature and be in your body. That kind of activity makes you feel yourself, and then you're more grounded and centered into your body. Okay, thank you for your question. Christine says, I had quite an outfall with two of my colleagues the other day. I stood up for myself, but would you please check if there's an attachment or bad energy left? I sure will. Christine, way to go. Good for you for standing up for yourself. You know what can happen in that situation? Sometimes we get thought form attachments. If someone has an emotionally charged reaction to something that we have said or did, sometimes they fire an arrow our way. It's an unconscious thing. You have a throat chakra attachment, Christine. I feel it right here in my throat. I feel like I have this. I'm already having a little trouble speaking, as you can tell today, and it sort of is feeling like it's making it worse because there's something slowing down the function of your throat chakra. And of course, I'm a kinetic empath. I feel it in my body just like you feel it in yours. So I'm going to pull that. We're just going to release that and heal it and send it back to where it came from. It was an unintentional response to having a bit of a confrontation. Someone had some emotionally charged thoughts about you, and that's how it came out, was through your throat. It will not come back, and ultimately it didn't do you any harm. It's just a good thing to release so that there's no, keeps the emotional intensity going when people are connected like that. And so this will help to allow this situation to sort of fall away and you can move forward. Okay, I'm going to do a quick body scan for Maureen, and then I am out of time for today. So let's just take a look. Maureen, I feel something in your back. I just want to take a look at it. Yeah, there's some stagnant heart chakra energy in the back of your heart chakra, so it's in your back. I feel it sort of like pressure in my spine, creating some pain. If you're having some back pain, that may be where it's coming from. So I'm going to just clear that from you. One thing just to remember is I call them energy dust bunnies. We get those in our heart chakras because we do a lot of work on the front of our hearts. We forget about the back. Our energy emanates all the way through us, and sometimes we forget that. So I just am going to do some clearing on your back and release that energy from you, and I think that you will feel quite a bit better. Okay, that is the last chance I have for a message today. I just want to say thank you all so much for being here. It means so much to me for you to participate and be present and chat with me in the chat room and listen. And if you're listening in the archives or in the on demand, thank you for being here as well. I appreciate all that you do for me in allowing me to get my message out. I will be a replay next week because I'm going to be out of town. We're taking a little trip. My wife is on vacation, so we're going to have a little fun. So I will be back here with you in 2 weeks. Although next week you will hear me on 1-2 News, on the 1-2 Meditation Show, and I won't be on Psychic Sisters either, but you will hear me on Monday and Wednesday next week. So thank you all so much for being here, for being who you are, and for creating this beautiful community we have here. And as always, thanks for listening to 1-2 Radio, where we're changing the way you listen to the world.